Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bush's Review Hub. Today we're diving into the powerhouse that is Michael B. Jordan. From intense emotional depth to pure physicality, this man has delivered some of the best performances over the last decade. So I decided I'll put together a list of Michael B. Jordan's top 5 most iconic roles, ranked, broken down and explained. And as well, I'd like to hear what your top pick is right at the end, guys. Now, let's get stuck into it. Starting off strong at number 5, Friday Night Lights.
Stay cool and you get paid.
Before the big blockbusters, MBJ showed up as Vince Howard in the hit series, bringing raw emotion and grit to a teenage football player under pressure.
Never been worried about that no other time. Why not? I feel like I'm getting punished for something.
You could already see his depth and vulnerability here. His scenes with Coach Taylor were intense.
Wildcat gun, X throwback. You understand me?
Sir. But you want me to throw it?
No, I want you to stand here. I want to talk about it all night. Yes, I want you to throw it.
Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights. I had an audition, went in there. One of the things about Friday Night Lights and Pete Berg, in his system, he loves improv. He loved improv and ad-libbing. And I was in the audition room, and there was a scene where Vince Howard was supposed to be giving his huddle, his like halftime huddle speech to his team and getting everybody like fired up and stuff like that. And I'm improvising and I'm talking and I'm doing my thing or whatever the case may be. And Peter Berg's just like throwing things at me, saying things and just like yelling at me, trying to get me motivated. And to the point where I just like instinctually just ran at him and just tackled him right there in the middle of the room. And I was like, all right, I either got the job or I'm getting kicked out of here. So, we all know how that went.
This was a turning point that showed he wasn't just a teen drama actor, he had serious range. Coming in at number 4, Killmonger. Let's be real, this villain almost stole the whole movie. Jordan brought pain, purpose, and perspective to a Marvel villain. You didn't agree with him, but you understood him.
I'm exercising my blood right. The challenge for the mantles of King and Black Panther.
Bury me in the ocean. That line hit like a brick.
Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage.
I want the throne.
Erik Killmonger for me was first time playing a villain. Ryan just called me up and was like, hey man, I'm doing this thing. I think it'd be a good look, for you to, kind of step out of your comfort zone and do something different and then play a role that people haven't had a chance to see you play. And, so we started talking about, design, character design, looks. We want to create an iconic hairstyle, something that would be in style, in 2 years or something that we would kind of influence kids and, people to want to kind of imitate. And it was a heavy role. It was a role that I didn't know how deep I was going to get into it until, I think it was over.
This role made Killmonger a cultural icon too, and proved that comic book characters can be deeply human. This one's tough to watch, but it's essential. In Fruitvale Station, Jordan played Oscar Grant, a real person killed by police. Directed by Ryan Coogler, this film changed MBJ's career. He stripped away any movie star shine and delivered something raw, honest, and heartbreaking.
Fruitvale Station for me was, the first time that I ever had an opportunity to carry a film. I think inside, as an actor at that age, was pretty insecure and, not really confident in what the future was going to be. This was like my opportunity to really show what I can do. As a black man at the time, there was a lot of police shootings really coming to the forefront and felt very frustrated and angry and didn't really have an outlet to say how I feel and express myself. And just so happened, perfect timing, Ryan Coogler was developing the script around the shooting of Oscar Grant in his hometown. And it was the perfect connection. I needed him at that time and he needed me, whether we knew it or not. I read that script, it was very emotional. Got a chance to meet him, found a kinship and a brotherhood. We connected. We set out to tell that story.
If you weren't paying attention to him before this role, you definitely were after. Now, you didn't forget about Wallace, right? Michael B. Jordan was just a teenager when he delivered one of the most gut-wrenching arcs in The Wire. The "Where's Wallace" scene is still quoted today.
Where the fuck is Wallace? Huh?
The Wire for me was a very pivotal moment in my career. First time I auditioned for Alexa Fogel, went in for Bodie at first. I read for him And I was too young, so they brought me back the next day for Wallace, and I ended up booking the role. Again, another one of those shows, and I guess characters that in its first season, we never knew what it was going to actually be. We were actually supposed to be canceled after season 1, and they got renewed. I take pride in Wallace because, being an OG of the show, one of the original cast members, even though I got killed off towards the end of the season, it seemed to be a death on television that resonates with a lot of people even today.
Even among a stacked cast, he stood out. This role set the tone for his entire career. Emotionally heavy, complex, and unforgettable. Now, number 1 has to be Creed. Taking on a legacy character like Apollo Creed's son isn't easy, but MBJ made it his own. Not only did he train like a real boxer, taking punches for real on camera, he gave the character emotional weight, loss, identity, and self-worth.
For me, Creed was something that me and Ryan talked about before we shot one frame of Fruitvale Station. It was something that was in his head a long time ago. I remember him just asking me like, "Hey man, I'm doing this movie about Apollo Creed's son. Do you want to play him?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool, let's do it." We haven't shot one frame, one scene of the movie, but that's the type of relationship me and Ryan had. And during that production, Ryan was running back and forth to MGM, Sly, just trying to make it happen, trying to convince Sly to kind of come back in a role that he wasn't really planning on doing. And yeah, that process was another milestone moment for me. First time I was able to really change my body like that, training. Taking on an iconic role, playing Apollo Creed's son was really important as well.
By Creed 3, he wasn't just starring, he was directing. Now that, guys, is evolution. Alrighty guys, there it is. That's my list of Michael B. Jordan's 5 top most iconic roles. Now, this is where you guys come into it. What was your favorite pick? Was it Wallace or Warmonger, or something completely different that I left out of this, like maybe from Chronicles or Fantastic Four? Now, why don't you let me know that by dropping it down in the comments. Let's see what Michael B. Jordan's fan base has really got, okay? Alrighty guys, we have come to the end. Just like to say, if all of you like this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as usual, all my old subs, I love you all, and thank you for liking, subscribing, and sticking around with me. Anyone that's new that's watched this far, don't forget to like, subscribe if you like this breakdown, and check out my other reviews if you like to see any more good videos. And as usual guys, I will catch you on the next one.